Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Lianne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey there. Hi there. We are so excited to be here with you right now. We have been having so much fun recording episodes for you and really wanting to share with you about leadership, about neuroscience, about wealth, and just dive in so that you can have the amazing life that you deserve. You matter, you're valuable, and we're here because we care. And Lianne, I'm so excited about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to really lean in again to identity. This is a common theme that we talk about, and there's a reason for that. Your identity is the foundation that you build everything else on. And I don't know if you're scriptural, but there is a scripture about building your house on the sand or on a rock. And for me, in my discovery process of identity, I leaned in and realized I was building my house on a rock, on a foundation, because I didn't grow up really even thinking about who I was. My impressions were all formed by the opinions of others. And that's where I thought that I lived, and by the things that I did as well. So let's dive in. I'd love to talk more about this, Lianne. What is on your mind?
So when you're talking about that, I immediately went to Abby. You guys have heard, those who've listened to the podcast for a while, my toddler, my amazing, powerful toddler. And, I'll look at her, I'm like, oh, Abby, I'll lean into her ways of being, right? Like, Abby, you're so strong. And she turns around and goes, no, I'm Abby. Like she knows who she is, right? And I love it how and it will happen often, like maybe not daily, but at least once a week, I would say she'll turn to me and say, no, I'm Abby. I'm Abigail. Like she knows who she is.
I love that.
There isn't a description, I guess, that comes along with her. Like she has so much confidence in who she is. And she's like, no, I'm Abby, right? I'm not all the things that you're saying that I am. So, but I love that. I love that because she is like, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And though she is growing and changing and developing as we all do.
Yeah.
At the heart of what she is still her. She's still Abby, right? Yes. Just like you are Carol and I am me. And we grow and we develop and we spend a lot of time in training rooms with leaders. And one thing that we are always reminding the leaders we work with is that your identity as a leader is consistently changing because you're constantly up leveling. You're constantly learning. You're constantly evolving, right? So your identity is actually an ever evolving thing.
Yes.
We've spoken about seasons of life, right? We've spoken about even me recently becoming not just a mom, but now a mom of two and a mom of two girls. Yeah. And, we go through different stages of life, right? Like, I'll be shortly celebrating my 40th birthday. And Carol, I know you have a big birthday coming, right? So, so we are ever evolving creatures and our identity gets to be ever evolving with us. Yes. And what's at the heart of it though, is who we are, right? Like I'm always get to be Alex, and Carol, you get to be you, and Abby gets to be Abby. And I just want to, for the listener, and I think what we're so excited about this is, we recorded our, recent episode on vision, right? Your vision, like, can also be evolving as well as you're growing and changing.
We're not stuck. Yeah.
Like who you are gets to evolve with that.
Mm.
And I had a recent conversation with a leader, and in that conversation, this is what I love the work that we do, Carol, like understanding like where identity comes through, because our identity is linked to our current beliefs.
Yes, absolutely.
And when we have a vision and we have something we're working towards, we get to rewrite our identity. We get to invent a new identity that's in line with what it is that we get to create.
We're already being that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And this conversation was like, that's not in line with or it was about being the identity of today. And it's like, well, what is it you're creating? And then the leader had this aha moment of like, you're right. You're right. How I'm showing up, how I'm being, my decisions and my actions, the results I'm creating are creating what I want today.
Yeah.
And are they in line with what I'm creating in the future? Yeah. And they had this amazing aha moment of like, okay, I get to rewrite who I get to be to create the things that I want to create that impact.
Because if we're not growing, you're right. We're just staying where we are. We're not the vision. Then we can't ever get to that because we're not being who we need to be to walk into that vision. And one of the things with what you're saying, that one of the important ways that we can define this for ourselves is there's a core you, and that the identity of the core you is that you matter, that you are valuable. You arrived on this planet with value. And there may be a lot of voices that have come along the way that have said in some way you are not, unless you have the external approval of others, which is different from being connected. We're all connected, but it's when we have that internal approval of ourselves. That's really, to me, the core of our identity. And from that foundation is where we're doing what you're talking about, where we're continually growing and up-leveling and becoming the new version of ourselves that has this life that we are actively creating. Because even if we don't see that, maybe you don't know that, maybe you don't see that, I didn't, we're still creating. We're still manifesting. We are where we are right now because of the way that we believe, which is our thoughts and emotions together. And, that's okay. It is what it is. But I have big visions. I have things that make my heart excited like you do, Alex. And I realize that I am not all the way being the person that I get to be to experience that. So it's a journey, it's a process. And that, I think, is important, that we know that it's a both and. There's a core you that's valuable, and there is the ever evolving you that is becoming a new version all the time as you create your reality.
And I think for you listener, like as you're listening to us and we're leaning into getting to define like who you are, and where you get to celebrate, like leaning into who you are, you get to celebrate who you are, and you get to redesign, especially because we're at the beginning of a new year, that you get to look ahead and see, what is it that I want to create this year? What impact do I want to have? Like, how do I want to lead? How do I want to, if you're a mom, be a mom. If you're a partner, you're a partner. If you're a wife, if you're a sister, like even the roles that you play, like how do you want to show up there? And then ask yourself, like, okay, what does my attitude get to be? Right? What does that look like? What are my values? What's important to me? When you're clear on your values, well, then your decisions get to take, or the decisions that you take, that to be in line with your values, right? And then your actions are in line with your values, and having it in line with that future, like where you're going and how you're showing up, like looking at your relationships, looking at your health. So you get to lean into the choices that you make to then create that. There's something else as you were speaking, Carol, I wanted to lean into as well and remind the listener, back to Abby, right? So Abby got a book for Christmas called I Am a Human Being. I'm a human being. And I love that reminder because guess what? We're all human beings.
Right.
And guess what? Human beings, they learn.
Right.
Human beings, we make mistakes. Yeah. We're human, right?
We reason, we process, we decide. Yeah.
And so just even at a young age for Abby to understand that, right? And I love some of these kid books and how they like they help lay the foundation. It's just that beautiful reminder of, especially if you're someone that experiences, perfectionism and it needing to look right and the self beat up and all of these fears that come up. You're human. You're human, right?
That's right.
It's all part of the learning and the process. And I'm hearing fun because I know that we just recorded a previous episode, we talked about being playful, but this really does get to be fun, right? Yeah. And looking at how you want to feel as you wake up, as you go to bed, right? The relationships that you want to have. Yeah. And then looking at, sure, some of the doing, right? Because you're a high achiever, you want to do things, but who are you when you're in that process of doing it and the impact that it's having on those around you in what you do?
That's so powerful. It's important to lean in on that discovery process. And, Alex, this is one of the things I take my clients through. And we talk about how do you define success? What does that mean to you? What are your values? What are your superpowers? And what's your why? We really lean in on some of these things so that you can lay that core of how important you are, who you are. And then we build on that, like you were saying. And, one of the things that I love about the leadership work that you're involved in now and doing is there are particular ways of being to be in leadership, distinctions, if you will. And I'd love for you to speak into that.
Yeah, it's looking at, it really is how you show up and not showing up because of what somebody else says.
Yeah.
Right. As we were talking to Carol, what came to me is being a mom, right? Carol and I are both moms, and it's so easy to look on socials and to see what all these other moms are doing and then to feel societal pressure and looking good and all of these things, right? And of course,
the comparison,
right, going back to the comparinitis, right, and judging and all this heaviness that it's easy to, I guess, thinking of an ocean with waves, right? It's really easy, right? With waves are calm, and then waves can very rapidly in a blink of an eye get really, really big. And I feel like that sometimes is society, when we've got so much around us that we can get so consumed by how other people are defining our roles and who we are. Right. And it's with Abby too, with me saying, oh, Abby, you're so strong. And I was commenting on ways of being, and even for her to be no, I'm Abby. Yeah. Right. She took a stand and I am Abby. And listener, I want to invite you to take that same stand, right? When you connect with yourself as a leader, yourself as, in the different roles and hats that you wear, get connected with who you want to be as a mom. Yes. And it's not about the social media and all the pictures and all the things and all of that. Yeah. Right. It's okay to ask for help, right? It's the lone wolfing thing. We see this all the time with high achievers. It's you attach being the proudness of doing it all by yourself to who you are. And yes, that's what's causing burnout.
Yeah. And, certain birth signs are, said to be more independent. And mine is supposed to be a strong streak of independence. And when I look back, I can see that. I can see where, I've allowed ego to get in my way rather than to ask for help. No, I can do it. I can do it myself. Thinking about Abby and about, the 3-year-old me, I can do it myself. She's learning to be a healthy, independent adult. And I love how life is a series of both ands. And especially when we look at our identity, it is a series of being able to be healthy, independent, have appropriate boundaries around ourselves to live our best lives and be able to be connected with those that we desire to be in the room with, who are up leveling with us, who are walking in leadership with us without judgment of anybody. Like it's a series of these beautiful juxtapositions that we get to walk between. For me, I actually really love that. I love that because there's so much freedom in that. There's so much open perspective in that, I don't have to be closed down and fixed and dogmatic about the way that I see my identity and walking forward in that. And I just invite that for you too, that you would be able to consider the both and consider the ability to define yourself as you desire. I am Abby. I am Carol, to be able to define it as you desire. And then within that, to be able to expand and develop and grow and become even more you and, have more impact and live this beautiful life while we have this time here on this planet, while we have these moments to lean in and fully experience them in every way. And that's, to me, a huge part of the beauty of taking this journey in regard to identity.
And just as you're saying that, Carol, like, I am. Yeah. Who are you? I am.
I am.
Because our brain wants to automatically go to, I am not.
Yeah.
I am not this. And you said it earlier, Carol, like comparing yourself to other people, right? And your brain has the automatic default to do that.
I am not enough.
Our invitation.
Yeah. Not smart enough, fast enough. Sorry, cut you off, but yeah.
No,
because it's coming in, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not capable enough. I'm not enough is the default, but yeah, continue.
Well, it's having that awareness, acknowledging that, and then interrupting that thought and declaring what you are, right? I am a mom of two. I am a patient mom of two. I'm a confident mom of two. I'm a loving, connected, like lean into those ways of being, of who you are in your beingness, of what you create. Pay attention to that internal dialogue, the inner critic of what your brain's telling you that you're not, and step into what you are. And it's really, really powerful leaning into this, especially when you look at your vision and what you're creating.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, you're like, vision. We invite you to go back to our recent episode where we dove into vision, unpacked a little bit more so that you have direction, you have clarity, you know where you want to go to, and then you can work backwards from, this is what you want to, this is what you're creating, stepping into that identity. So for example, if you are someone, I know Carol and I, we love speaking on stages, right? It's like, I am speaking on stage. I am speaking on stage, even though maybe that's not current reality if you're listening to this, but it's something you want to do, lean into. I am speaking on stage, right? And if I'm speaking on stage, well, how do I show up? I show up confident. Maybe you have a signature talk, lean into what are some of the things, or, I am leading a team. I'm getting a raise. I'm hiring more team members. I'm, the recent one was like, I'm on the front cover of a magazine. I'm, I've authored a book. I've got this raise, I got this invested, I bought this house, like lean into, and some of these things are also some things, but lean into what you're creating and then think about, okay, if I am doing that, what else, like, how else am I showing up? What is my way of being to then create that? What are some of the other things that support me in that? Right. And so it's I say it's fun because you get to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
You get to reinvent yourself. That's the power of this work. You get to reinvent yourself. You don't, right? It's not about what all the people said about you.
It's not about your past.
Yeah. You get to get back in the driver's seat of your life and your vision, what you're creating. And you get to lean into, what are the values of this person? What are the decisions that this person's creating? What are the actions that this person takes? Right. And then show up like that. Build the muscles of a person that's creating the things that you want to create, that future version of yourself in your vision.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And, it reminds me of the story of lottery winners and celebrities who have come into fame, come into a certain type of power and finances, and then turned around and lost it right away. Well, this is really a great example of what we're speaking about because they didn't have that prep time to become the person who was able to handle what they received. Now, this can be reversed at any time. And I really love what you were saying about that, because one of the exciting things is if you've had some hard experiences, which most human beings on this earth have had, you can literally, through the work we're talking about, not only rewrite who you want to be, who you are being, but you can rewrite the past as well. You can shift generational patterns. You can break bonds that have been there and ways of thinking that maybe have been generational in your family. And I've seen this over and over and over again. I've experienced it in my own life, and I've experienced it in my clients' lives as well, believing in them and seeing them literally rewrite their future and walk in a whole different direction, seeing things from a different perspective and creating what they wanted to create. You can do this too.
Which is the power of the work. What we love this and what we love bringing this to you and looking at and unpacking the neuroscience of what's going on and what are some of the core principles that once you dive into, right? Having clarity on a vision, really getting clear with the identity that's aligned with that vision, right? I've been saying this a lot lately, alignment creates your assignment, right? When you have alignment in what it is that you want, how you want to feel, how you want to be, then that then trickles down to your decisions, your actions, your beliefs, your identity, and the results that you ultimately are creating. So my invitation here is to look at the vision, invite, if you haven't listened to the other episode, listen to that, get some clarity on what it is that you want, even if you're just looking at today, tomorrow, the next hour, and then connect with that person, you as being that person, and then creating that, right? Like, what action would that person take? If you're someone that has set intentions for this year, or if you are a goal setter, you look at that, anything like that, go back to that and connect with, okay, how do I get to show up? Who do I get to be? And you are, like, I think that's the really, really important thing is, like, I am. You already are all of that, right? Especially if you're looking at what you want to create. It's done. One of the books that I have to make reference to is Richard Dott's "It Is Done," because it is done.
It is done.
It's in you.
And you have everything inside of you. Exactly. And a lot of this that we talk about is literally a discovery and uncovering process, because you do have everything within you that you need. And I love that you brought that up. It's such an important point. And it's important to know too that, while you are evolving, knowing your core, that you matter, that you're here for a reason, that you're valuable, and being able to build off of that, being able to build off of the I am of being important, being necessary to this life. And I really think right now, Alex, Lianne, this message needs to get out there more than ever. There are so many of you that I've been talking to lately who do not feel valuable. You do not feel important, and you feel really battered by your current circumstances, or as Mary Morrissey said, circumstances, condition, or situation. And you don't have to be battered by that. So start with the vision, start building in your identity. And we're going to do another part of this series. So keep listening so that we can share more with you about this. It's so important. I do want to tell you that one of the things I am doing that I want you to be aware of right now is a private Principles of Wealth podcast. It's a mini podcast that's 3 months long, Monday through Friday. And this is why it's important for you. It's important for you because maybe you didn't grow up knowing how the wealthy think and operate. And if you're anything like me, like that lottery winner, I had wealth, but I was still living from a place of scarcity, lack, making poor decisions, fear of losing it, thinking I didn't deserve it. So one of the reasons I have started this podcast is so that you can know that there are some principles and immutable laws. You can learn what those are. And then as you desire, you can start to combine those with the neuroscience principles that we teach. And this can 10x your income. I've seen this happen. This can help you to get rid of decision-making fatigue and know how to plan for your future. Because when we come to those crossroads, you'll go, oh, these are the principles, just like gravity or electricity, that I can operate by to walk forward. Alex, Lianne, and I were just talking about one of them, and it's a tracking principle. And first one is really surround your identity. Your net worth is dependent on your self-worth, or it's based on your self-worth. So we'll put the link in the show notes. I invite you in, and it's the price of a cup of coffee. So join us there. And yeah, we look forward to sharing so much more with you in the next step in this series. So can't wait for you to listen to that. Right, Alex, Lianne?
Yeah. So we would love to hear, what identity do you get to step into and create for yourself in 2024? So connect with us on socials and share what do you get to create? I get excited. About this because it's just stepping into possibility, and leaders really do lead by possibility, right? 100% is possible 100% of the time. So lean into what you get to create, who you get to be, and have some fun with it. Like you've got a blank slate in front of you to reinvent yourself. And we're excited to be part of this journey with you and to continue to support you in just neurohacking the success that you get to create this year. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Ciao for now.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.